Hi, my name is Adam Glass. Thank you for joining us here today at Autodesk University. The weather is great here on Zoom, as it is in Las Vegas right now at the same time. So we got that going for us here. This is, and welcome to Advance2000, our segment here today. And what we're going to do is, first off, introduce everybody today, but we're going to give you a demonstration of our virtual desktops. Our virtual desktops are created from very beginning for the use in the architectural, engineering, and construction industries, more suited for the types of applications that we all work on a daily basis, from the likes of Autodesk and lots of other manufacturers. Every passing year, every passing month, the compute resources for these types of programs goes up and up and up. While their usefulness, their value as a software is also just exponentially greater, the challenge, the technology challenge to be able to keep your firm's compute capabilities to the point where they're able to run these, while also creating a collaborative type of environment. And this is only more important in today's world, with people working as remotely as we do now, just due to the pandemic and lots of other things, just the way our workplaces have evolved. And here at Advance2000, we call that cloud space. So your cloud space is wherever you happen to work, wherever you happen to be, whether that's your home office, a Starbucks, a hotel, or an airport gate. It is your cloud space. And that cloud space should have all the compute capabilities that you would normally have from anywhere, whether you're sitting there in your office right next to a server, or you're in any one of those types of remote situations. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen now. And there we are. So again, my name is Adam Glass. I'm with Advance2000. I'm joined today with a couple of our industry experts here, Andre Voss and Snigdha Patel Puruwala, and I am sure I mispronounced your name there. I tried as best as I could, but if you could, please introduce yourselves and tell them a little bit about yourselves.
Yes, my name is Andre Voss. I'm architect and project manager with CGL companies, and I'm the president of the Revit users group here in New York City. And as such, we're organizing usually about one event per month on a regular year. This year has been a little bit off. And this is our November event here. Snigdha?
Obviously, Andre joins us from his apartment in Manhattan. So thank you very much for doing that for us today, Andre.
Hi, my name is Snigdha Patel. I work for Siami Construction. I'm a vice president for BIM and commissioning within the company. Work closely with Andre on the Revit user group. I'm a vice president out there. And I'm delighted to be on this panel, and thanks for inviting us, Adam.
Thank you for joining us. JT?
Joseph Talamantes. I'm also with Advance2000. I am the regional director out of the Midwest. My background is mostly as a technology leader in the AEC industry. So I was most recently CIO for a large AE firm here in Chicago. And I've probably got more than 20 years of experience, both as an architect and as a technologist in the AEC industry. I think one of the things that makes Advance2000 a little bit more unique over other technology companies is people like me that work here. We came from the AEC industry, so we've got a unique insight into the needs of design technology and just technology in general for the AEC industry.
Right, and JT's not alone in that. We have several people within our company that all have crossed over into the technology end of it from the architectural industry. So Advance2000, just a little bit on us. Advance2000 is slightly over a 30-year-old company, about 32 years old now. We're a company that's evolved through technology. We started off as just an interconnect, doing data networks and voice over IP phone systems. We came into an opportunity with one of our customers who asked us to be able to take a program that they use quite often. It was a large architectural firm and they were using AutoCAD, and they wanted to be able to use AutoCAD in different locations to be able to better collaborate. This is before cloud. This is before we use things like virtualization. Through several iterations of whether it be thin clients and all kinds of different things, we evolved to what we have today, and that is a full virtual infrastructure. And we're going to get into that a little bit more. Our data centers are completely owned by Advance2000 and operated by Advance2000. We do not use third-party data centers such as AWS or Azure or anything like that. These are our own brick and mortar data centers that we also operate ourselves. In fact, our network operations center and our help desk is in the same facilities, our main one actually being in Amherst, New York, just outside of Buffalo. 85% of our employees are engineering and support, the remaining 15% just being administrative and sales. Just to show that we are a very engineering heavy company and rely very strongly upon that. It's our ability to be able to provide for our customers that is our greatest value. It is a fully managed and virtually unlimited cloud space that we build for people. So when you come to Advance2000, we are taking as much or as little that you want to put into the cloud, but we can go as far as virtualizing your firewall, file servers, any type of application, as well as all of your users, okay? Every single person in the company, or maybe just a select few that you want to be able to have special kind of computing powers and collaboration tools for a project, okay? In fact, that's how a lot of people start with us. We've been supporting the New York City Revit user group for about 8+ years. And as a result, a great deal of the people from the New York Revit user group are customers of Advance2000 Day because they'd had firsthand experience with us. Andre, if you could, and if you guys could both maybe elaborate a little bit about that partnership and a little bit about the New York City Revit user group and what you guys do.
Yeah, so we're a Revit users group. Here in New York City, we have about 2,500 members online. I suspect most of those are zombies by now. When we meet in person, we have, I want to say 200 to 300, a cast of 200 to 300 people, rotating on a monthly basis, 40 to 50 of which show up for any given event. So once a month, we meet with 40 to 50 people somewhere in a furniture showroom in Manhattan, and somebody in the community talks about their experience within, around, and about Revit, Autodesk, BIM technology, architecture technology. We're not anymore purely Revit. It started out as purely a Revit knowledge exchange back when the software wasn't mature enough. By now we have had, Solibri, we've had, what are they called? ArchiCAD present, we've had, other platforms present. And, things like Advance2000, which provides the backbone for us to, work and collaborate across locations. So we're more than just Revit. We're a BIM and technology group by now. Yeah, and Advance2000 has been really helpful partnering with us for the last, I don't know how many years. If you say 8, I believe that. Snigdha, what do you have to add?
Sure. So it's been a great group. It's a good learning for all of us. And basically, we focus on knowledge sharing. And as my colleagues previously mentioned, we do not promote or try to promote any specific softwares. I mean, it's basically trying to advance our own knowledge and the use of technology in the construction industry. So that's our goal. And we appreciate all the support that Advance2000 has given us so far.
Yeah. And that has always been, I want to just emphasize what Snigdha they just said in a half a sentence. It's just too important. We are agnostic. We are very deliberately not a sales pitch tool. We could be. Every startup in New York and in the US wants to sponsor us for one event and reach our database of users, but that is not what we are about. We watch out very closely that what we present has value to our membership. So, which is oftentimes a balancing act, right? Because we do need to present software and platforms and vendors. But we are very careful to say we're not endorsing this as the solution for the world. But it is something that we are seeing a lot of people in the industry and in our community are using. So maybe a couple of other people in the community want to use it too. Specifically Advance2000, I have to admit, full disclosure, I'm a fanboy. My company has been using that technology and that backbone for about 6 years now, 5 or 6 years, which is why Adam asked me to present, because I'm thoroughly familiar with it.
Right. So I guess that's a good segue here. So not all clouds are created equally. What we're talking about today is a private cloud. Okay, we're not going to go into any of these other types of applications you all use on a regular basis, whether it be BIM 360 or Procore or any of the other type of cloud type applications. You're still going to use those. In fact, I've got customers that use a lot of those day-to-day, Bluebeam and things like that. What we create here is a common ground for all of those types of tools to be used. A Swiss Army knife, if you will, okay? Each one of those tools would represent a different type of tool. Each one of those software applications, I should say, represents a different tool or a knife within the Swiss Army knife. And we create that stable platform for each one of those tools to be drawn upon, okay? And then be able to enjoy the collaboration that comes along with that. So I just want to make sure that we understand that. What exactly is a cloud? Real quickly, a cloud is just a data center, a server, a computer, someplace located, and it doesn't matter where it is, that you're connecting to via the internet. And all your compute power is there in that computer that is wherever that remote venue happens to be, not on that local machine or device that you're accessing it from. Who's using the cloud? I think a better way of putting that is who is not using the cloud these days. People are using the cloud whether they know it or not today in one way, shape, or form. But the type of cloud that we're talking about today is becoming more and more prevalent, and the circumstances that have happened over the 8-9 months here in the year 2020 has only emphasized that ability, okay? So whether you're a company that is coming to Advance2000 like an architectural firm that needs to be able to have that specialized computing power to run things like Revit or Enscape or Lumion or any other of these very intense programs, or if you're just going to the cloud because you want to be able to have your employees have the ability to be able to have remote access and be able to access the company data infrastructure on any device from anywhere to keep them safe. We do that. That's who's using the cloud. So more and more and more, okay, are doing it. And why is the cloud gaining popularity? For all the reasons that I just mentioned. It creates a more agile, a more redundant, a more a better company for people to work with, and for you as whether it be an owner or a principal, the ability to be able to give your employees that that freedom, that that remote capability. Happy employees makes for a happy company and happy customers. So what services can you migrate to the cloud? You can migrate absolutely anything you want. That could be putting all your data up in the cloud, having all that data backed up, different types of backup, whether that be daily snapshots or archival type of data can be put up there. Any type of operating system can be supported, okay? We've got people using Linux, we've got people using Windows operating systems, you name it, and that goes for databases as well, Oracle and so on, SQL, all those types of things can be put into the cloud, okay? Your voice, if you wanted to, we can absolutely do that as well. Take your telephone system and move it into the cloud, take that offsite and make that a virtual thing as well. And that includes all the different types of applications that go along with that, that you can put on your phone so that you're tied into your company. Any application, even the most compute resources, resource intensive ones, like we've said, can be put up into the cloud. In fact, probably work even better. And lastly, your security. All of this is of no good if you can't secure it all. So your firewall would be up in the cloud. Your unified threat management tools, endpoint protection, and all of this can be encrypted from point to point, making your and your clients' intellectual data very, very safe. In fact, probably, if not definitely safer than you'd be able to accomplish on your own. So what this looks like. Sorry, a little bit of that wasn't a technical problem, that was me. So basically, what does this look like? This graphic will hopefully, I just have to move us out of the way a little bit here, show you what we're going to be doing today. So over here, we've got the cloud space. This is where all that information that I mentioned before is going to be stored. Your firewall, your file servers, any types of applications, all your CPU power, all your graphical power, right, is going to be there. This can be done via a point-to-point, just a simple VPN, public service telephone network, whatever, okay? Andre's doing this from a cable modem in his apartment in Manhattan. This very well could have been in a hotel in Mexico, if you want it to be, or at a ski resort in Canada. Doesn't matter where it happens to be. It could be on any device that you want that to be, whether that be a PC, a smartphone, any of those types of devices. It does not matter. Yeah, you can actually do this and run these types of programs on a smartphone if you needed to. Okay, not the most ideal platform to be able to do your work with, but it can be done. So that's a little bit about Advance2000. All of this is supported with our 24-hour help desk, okay? But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna bring up one of a few of our actual virtual desktops. This section right here, we did pre-record just to make sure that we didn't have any types of surprises. But we are also, each one of these folks that are on us here now also have a virtual desktop that they are on, and we can pull up this same data and be able to show you the actual desktops. So this is going to get started in just a moment here, but this is done yesterday where Andre was walking us through this. Now, mind you, it's very difficult to make this an exciting thing, okay? But the purpose of this is to be able to show.
So when you are invited to an Advance2000 cloud infrastructure, you will get a link and sign in credentials. You log into your domain here with the credentials that you receive from whoever is inviting you. You click login. This is your professional desktop. This is the desktop in the data center in the cloud. So you double click on that, it connects. And then it is set for me here right now to take over my entire screen, which, as you can see, I can actually undo and make this just one window in order to demonstrate a few things here. So the system is set up that it will adjust this window, will adjust to whatever size you crop it to. And if I'm simply working as normal, I have it take over both my monitors, and that's the end of it. I have here, for demonstration reason, a second desktop that has similar credentials. that I want to use to show you a few things. So I'm logging into 2 separate virtual desktops. I'm connecting to it. It will take over both my monitors again. Then I can make that a little smaller again, and we have, for show reasons, for the show and tell, 2 separate users, basically 2 separate desktops, 2 separate users, 2 separate, entirely separate backgrounds here to demonstrate that. So we have 2 different desktops here for 2 different users, right? I'm just basically pretending to be 2 different people in the virtual desktop environment. And as you can see, we have a shared drive here. We put a bunch of files in here, my apartment. And on both desktops, just like any other, shared drive, whatever I'm doing here, if I just, double those up, those files, make a copy, you'll see that my other user sees those right away because they're on the shared network drive. On the other hand, if I'm on my desktop here, or my virtual desktop here on the left, the climber at Yosemite, if I put a bunch of files onto my desktop here, on the left side, the climber in Yosemite and the beach-going person somewhere in the Caribbean, I suppose, have their separate desktops. And as you could see, this was all really quick because it's all local speeds. The connection is happening. The desktop and the network shared drive are all in the same data center, so the data transfer between them is incredibly fast. And the only traffic, the only data that gets transferred between the data center and my location here is images and keystrokes going over the internet, similar to any streaming video. So with these 2 desktops, as we said, these can be accessed anytime, anywhere. So I can access them from my telephone, from my iPad, from any laptop. And just for demonstration reasons, one thing that I want to show everybody is how this actually works off of an internet connection, or through a browser, rather. Through the browser, these two desktops are currently shown through the client software. Now, if I go to the browser interface, it's asking me once more for my credentials. So I'm demo 431.
And so while you're doing that, I guess the importance of this is being able to demonstrate how we're able to, from whatever device it happens to be, and obviously from wherever we happen to be, you being in your apartment in Manhattan, and myself being here in New Jersey, and JT out in Chicago, and we're all able to open up from whatever device we want, whenever we want. And that type of thing has even become more and more important in today's world. So whether it's through a browser or through a virtual desktop like you've been doing, that shows some of the agility that this brings to you.
Yeah. And you will now see, I log into that particular desktop through my browser, and lo and behold, that desktop closes down because I can only access it from one spot, right? You don't want 2 people using the same credentials. That would be a little bit chaotic. So that is all nice and square. And if you just, for demonstration reasons, let's have a look at, whatever my famous last words that I have, live sitting here on my virtual desktop. If I go home tonight, and tomorrow I'm on an airplane, I forgot my laptop and I'm looking at it from my telephone. Well, guess what? I close this down. I open this up again. That is my account. So I log in. And there we go. Oops, it takes over my entire screen. We knew that. And more than that, my desktop, my working surface where I do my work every single day is still the same as I left it last night with my favorite last words. So I don't have the trouble that I have with a VPN connection, that I have to go to the office every now and again and restart the computer, or something is not working out there. This is available anytime from anywhere, right at the spot where I left it last time.
And to boot, while you were making all this, moving from one place to the other, or the evening went by, everything was backed up and saved. And it's replicated amongst multiple data centers. So you don't have to ever worry about any type of data loss or not being able to get to your virtual desktop, no matter when you are happen to be working or where you're working.
So let's have a look at some basic Revit functionality here. Open up Revit, loads up just as, normal on any given desktop. And we'll show you now how that works with Snigdha in New Jersey. So I open my file, I browse, to my central file here, create a new local. I open that up. This one happens to be my apartment from when we renovated this a couple of years ago. And none of my shortcuts work. So here it is, my apartment, tiny little 450 square feet somewhere in Manhattan. I can do this. Obviously, I can, take some of this, delete it. That shelf never came to be. So we can delete that out and synchronize that back to the central file. And then we can turn that over to Snigdha, who can show you what this one looks like once she opens it up. Snigdha, you want to share your screen now?
Yeah.
So Andre, let me ask you, while Snigdha opens up her screen, how's the performance for you? Now you've got Revit opened up on your virtual desktop, where you are in Manhattan, New York, and the virtual desktop is residing in Buffalo, New York. What's the performance like for you?
The performance is absolutely magnificent. It's local speeds, right? So our central files are sitting in a data center in Buffalo. Our desktops, where the actual processing takes place, are sitting in the same data center in Buffalo. So the processing speeds are absolutely great. Data transfers, file transfers, copying, a 250 megabyte file from Revit from one spot to another, or large image files, movie files, is incredibly quick.
So let me ask you, since you've been using the Advance2000 platform in your role at CGL for several years now, you also use it in other places than just Manhattan. Maybe tell us quickly, I know you've been to Mexico and other places like that where you've gotten on your virtual desktop. How do you find it when you're working in those other areas?
It's just the same. I've worked in it from Mexico on vacation. I'm going to work from New Mexico on vacation again next February. I've used it from Germany. Actually, on Christmas vacation, I had forgotten to fill in my timesheet. So I actually pulled up my virtual desktop on my telephone, filled out my timesheet, and submitted my timesheet. Now, granted, a U.S. telephone carrier in Germany on a train between Hamburg and Berlin did not have the fastest internet connection. So the frame rate was a little bit slow, but that was just a matter of the internet connection on the telephone. It was like a 3G connection that I had.
Right, but given the circumstances,
other than that, it worked perfectly. I can connect from any place, and I have connected from any place. I've connected to it through my telephone actually here in the U.S. when I was actually also on the train between Manhattan and Philadelphia. Used my telephone, 4G, 3 bars, my telephone as a hotspot, and that was totally sufficient to do work on my laptop, and via my laptop, my virtual desktop.
So when we say that we're able to create a work environment, a high-performing work environment where you're able to run any type of software that you would use in your normal business, no matter how resource-intensive it is, from anywhere, on any device, at any time, that's all very accurate to say. And obviously, we're showing it right now in real time. So that's the experience that you've been able to get out of this.
Yes, we have. I mean, to be honest, here I'm president of the Revit users group, and as such, we pride ourselves in the fact that we are independent and we are not a sales pitch platform. My company started using A2K about 5-6 years ago. After about 4 or 5 years, we saw that the rendering programs were starting to run slow. The latest Enscape, the latest Lumion, were starting to hit the limit of the graphics card that we had installed 5 years prior. But that's 5-year-old technology. So we went back to A2K. We looked at the system. We upgraded the parts that needed upgrading. And now we're back up and running. The new system has been up, I think, a year and a half or 2 years by now, and we're happy. Our renderers are happy. Our Revit production folks are happy. All is good.
I mean, right now you're working off a virtual desktop that has, I believe, 32 gigs of RAM. It's running an 8 gig RTX, Nvidia graphics board, and at least 4 core, if I'm not mistaken. And you're getting every bit of that performance on any device if you're choosing. So that's great. We're going to go over here to Sigda. How are you doing here? Can you share your screen and show some of the stuff that Andre was able to say for you?
Sure. Okay. Do you guys see my screen?
Yes, we do.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So here's the model that Andre was working on, and I have it open now in my screen.
So once you're in there, you zoom in. Clearly, we see, my apartment, and if you were to delete that door, maybe both. Yeah. You place that request. That's normal behavior. Now, what you guys cannot see is I'm getting that request right here, obviously. I grant Snigdha that editing request. There it is, been granted. You can cancel that. Go by and open that, delete that door, and synchronize that back to the central file. Now, if Snigdha now stops sharing, and I share my screen again, everything is still what I what I was seeing before. I synchronize, and both doors disappear real quick because all of this is on the same network. Now, one of the great things about this is why I like having this system as a cloud system over having all the other cloud systems. We do use all of the other cloud systems, the Bluebeams and the Adobes and the BIM 360s and all of those other items, Teams and whatnot. It fully integrates with it. This is just a normal Windows environment that is able to integrate with all the other systems. If we collaborate with people outside of our office, we use every avenue available, depending on what the team is demanding, depending on the size of the job and the sophistication of our partners on each particular project. And every now and again, when we have sophisticated partners, like Snigdha, for instance, we have actually invited other companies into our private cloud, into our A2K environment. So that for us eliminated the need for all of the other collaborative cloud software, where it takes quite a while to drag large files from the cloud to your desktop every time you want to edit it, right? Be that 360 or SharePoint or ShareFile or Bluebeam Studio. It takes some time at every load, at every save. This system is all bound together in one data center. So at every save, at every download, upload, time is not a question. There is no save as, sending it over, prepping files to share. It's all in one environment.
I think it's worth mentioning that you're able to do this also very securely. You don't have to have your IT department to get in there and open up potential holes in your network to allow third-party consultants or people that you're partnering with a project on to be able to do that. Those types of things are normally going to take time. There are a security hole. This allows you to be able to bring people in when you need to very quickly in a very secure fashion, correct?
Yep. So what we did at that point, we basically created a project folder, right? It's called this limited project, right? And, we simply said, went into the properties, managed the security, limited or enabled this one folder for our partner architects who came into this one project, while the rest of the drive was off limits to them. They could see, that's a project, but they couldn't access it. And that was something that you don't have to have a sophisticated IT professional open up channels and IP addresses. It was as simple as locking 5 folders and opening one folder. So that was actually a really, really excellent experience on the integration part to work with that partner. Which also, and that's why we have Snigdha here today to demonstrate this a little bit on the construction management side. Some of us have, I'm sure some of the folks in the audience have worked in co-located offices. We, as an office, we've just opened a 450,000 square foot courthouse in Portland, Oregon, where we had co-located offices. The client, all the engineers, our partner architect were all physically in the same office. We had 3-4 people flying back and forth to Portland. It was like one person at a time was there, and they just traded places, so to speak, over there. And while we had a couple of our leaders travel back and forth, the other dozen and a half production people were all in this cloud working from 5 different locations. We had Sacramento, Lexington, New York, Miami, and Mexico City actually. So all of that worked really smoothly, and we are currently considering doing this on more projects where we get into the same cloud, into the same workspace with the virtual co-located office, so to speak, with the CMs and the main engineers in order to speed this up. Just why I'm excited that Snake is here from the CM side.
I think you're on mute, Adam.
You're on mute.
How about that, the IT guy? Andre, without putting words in your mouth, would it be safe to say that over the last 5 years that you've been doing this, it definitely changed the way that your workflow is, and your ability to be able to bring in people from other areas, other parts of the country, the world, to be involved in your projects, but even more so in the last 8 months. Maybe just a real quick moment here on how the pandemic and the stay-at-home orders that happened way back in March, and now the stay-at-home orders that we're seeing roll out across the country and the world, how that affects CGL or maybe does not affect CGL.
It does not affect our production. We used to have, as I just said, we have 5 offices, right? With each somewhere between 5 and 12 people. Overall, I think we're 60, 65 people in our company. We used to be 65 in 5 offices. Now we're 65 people in 65 offices. And it doesn't matter because each office has an internet connection. Each home has an internet connection. So everybody's, kitchen, living room, bedroom, alcove becomes our next satellite office. I'm in the Upper West Side office. Dominica, colleagues in our Brooklyn office, and our principal is in our New Jersey office now, so to speak. So what happened for us in mid-March, when we had when we started working from home, I grabbed 2 big monitors, dragged them, got into a cab, dragged them from the office to my home because my laptop was just too small to screen, and that was it. Other than that, I am as connected to my project and my colleagues as I've ever been. Obviously, yes, the personal interconnection, that office mentality, the human part of what we do, okay. But that's got nothing to do with the system. For us, the system was a godsend simply because we didn't skip a beat. We went home on Friday with 2 monitors, and on Monday morning, we're still at the same desktop that, you're seeing right now here. I opened it up and it was looking just the same, and I had just the same functionality. And from that point of view, nothing has changed.
And it could have been that Friday afternoon. You didn't even have to wait till Monday morning for that to happen. So
I took my weekend, man. I took my weekend.
You took your weekend, but I know you architects like to work in the middle of the night, so it would have been available for you whenever you needed it to, if you had a deadline.
Yeah, and that's the functionality that I was showing here earlier, right? You close it in one spot, you open it up in another spot, and it is just the same.
Okay.
There's no delay in transfer of files or emails or putting on a cloud or anything. You log in, the file's there for you.
Yep.
So that makes you more efficient too, right?
Absolutely.
Right. You're not downloading, uploading, waiting for things to go on.
I'm not spending Friday afternoons, up and downloading the files for 12 consultants. I'm not forcing 12 consultants with 40 or 50 staff to go into BIM 360 and pay $900 a year for the BIM 360 license. There is, I can invite those folks into my environment, or if the team decides, I can do a hybrid and do, one or the other or both, depending on what each project team comes together and can agree on.
Okay. Okay. Well, that was our recorded piece of our presentation there. Andre, actually everybody on the panel, we have a few questions that came in during the course of that. I think some were answered online, but I'm going to repeat them for everybody that's on the call or anybody that's going to come into this afterwards and wants to listen to it. This first question is, what are some of the BIM type software applications you've run successfully on the Advance2000 Cloud Platform? Oh, you're muted. You're muted, Andre. There you go.
As I said before, I've been using this for like what, 5-6 years now, and anything we've used has worked. Revit, the entire Autodesk suite, whatever is involved there, live rendering software, Enscape, Bluebeam, Grasshopper, Rhino. It is basically a desktop that is as strong as you specify it, and we have specifications that serve our needs. If you wanted to have faster renderings, I'm sure Adam will build you a faster machine with higher specifications if you choose so. So we have hit, after 5 years, we have hit a limit where Enscape and Lumion needed more resources than a 5-year-old piece of machinery could deliver. Yes, but that is the same that we always have. Our rendering machines have a lifespan of 2, 3, 4 years max, and then the software wants more horsepower.
Well, I think
other
that's
than
probably...
that, it's been working very well. And even then, it was Enscape was hitting the limit, and renderings. Revit at the time was still working real well. So our the Revit capacity was still there. The rendering capacity needed to be upgraded.
And that's one of the things that makes this most relevant, is because even though we've got some predefined virtual desktops that we have, especially for our AEC customers, we're on our Gen 7 right now that we just released, which are extremely fast with some of the new processors out there, some of the newest graphics cards. But at any time, any of our customers need to add to that, or whatever they need to do, whether it's increase memory, storage, processors, whatever the case may be, it's as easily as either calling our 24-hour help desk, or even easier, going into our portal that each one of our customers have and being able to make those types of requests, changes, support tickets, whatever like that in real time. JT, you've been quiet for a little while here. Would you like to add to that?
Well, I was just going to say that there is one caveat, and that is virtual reality or augmented reality. That is something that we have on our radar, but it's not able to do yet in a virtual computer, just because of the amount of data that's got to travel from the computer itself to the headset. You're working over an internet connection with your virtual desktop, and that works fine for 99% of all applications, like Andre said. But with virtual reality, the amount of data that has to travel over an internet connection back and forth, it just doesn't give you that real-time feel at this point. But it's one of the things on our list, our bucket list, and we're going to keep following and monitoring the technology as it evolves, and hopefully one day we'll be there.
Here, I got another question here. What is the biggest challenge of moving to the Advance2000 system, Andre?
Mentality. frankly, and that depends on your company. We've had in our company a couple of people who looked at it with suspicion, and a couple of people who looked at it with as an opportunity. We're part of a larger conglomerate of companies, and our CTO there, he stayed away from it for a long time. The guys in the ground planning this all out, what server, how big a server, how much storage, they were on the suspicious side because they had the feeling that Advance2000 was taking away their job, making it easier. Once I had actually the opportunity to talk to the CTO, and he was like, yeah, you guys as architects need to go into the cloud. That is what you need to do. It'll help you a lot. And he literally said, I could build that thing for you, but then I have to hire 2 people full time and bill you back those 2 people. And you're going to be paying through the nose for that as the architecture department.
Once they made that changeover, was it embraced though? Once they got it and they were able
yes, right now, because it's making our life easier. For me as an end user and for our 60 architects and planners, our first line of knowledge is and troubleshooting is your phone center. That phone center is there 24/7. So that works extremely well for us if there is a hiccup, which hasn't happened since we upgraded, basically. You do need to think it through, though. Don't believe that you can just say, hey, we have 20 users, they have these machines today, we want the same thing in the cloud, and it happens in 4 weeks and you switch over and it's done. You want to treat it like any architectural project. I kept comparing it with my peers here to an architectural project. You want to go through the motions and you want to think it through. And you want to think it back from your end user. My secretary, my staff, secretarial staff does not need to have a Revit capable machine. Not required, so we can save some money there. I'm not a renderer. I'm the Revit guy and project manager, so I need that level machine. If you depending on how you want to split it up, and you want to think that through diligently. Yeah, that's the biggest challenge.
Yeah, and I think it goes back to thinking your own way, like when you go out to buy a machine, what do you need? So it's kind of building that library. And in terms of now it comes to a bigger team, not just for yourself. So like person A may only need certain functionalities, person B may need some additional functionalities. So kind of building that inventory and then working with Advance2000 to kind of help us deliver that. And I think that's a gradual process.
Right. I think that's one of the things that really differentiates us from some of the other types of services out there because, well, number one, we do cover the entire gamut. So your entire network and all the different types of applications and data that you would need to store there, but also different kinds of virtual desktops. And you don't have to be an IT person to figure this out. You don't have to create these. You can go into a list and say, I've got this particular type of job function. Here's the virtual desktop that's going to work for me. Pick that and then be able to go from there. And then we manage that all for you versus you having to get into that thick. Sure. We have another question here. I'm sorry, did you have something you want to say?
No, good.
No? Oh, okay. This one is, are there any specific situations where the virtual desktop gave you an opportunity to win more business or not lose business?
Okay, we're architects.
Right. This might be a different kind of question for you versus maybe your management.
Yeah. So as an architect, no client has come to me ever and say, hey, you have a great virtual technology backbone. I'm going to hire you for that reason. They hire us because we're designers and because we know what we're doing. That being said, not lose business. Not quite. As I said, in that recorded bit, the Multnomah job in the Portland Courthouse, Multnomah County, and the collaboration with another architect where they got invited into our cloud. Those were things, if I wanted to do that without the virtuality, if I wanted to do that on an old school localized system and try to connect that, I would have lost a lot of time and lost a lot of a lot of credential with or credibility with my client, and especially for the co-located project in Portland, that was important. Initially, the client said, "We want your team in Portland." And we had 1 or 2 people there at every day. It was not always the same people. It was a rotating cast. But what they wanted was, our production team in Portland, 5-10 people in Portland. And we said, look, we don't need that. We have our production team in a virtual co-located scenario, and 2 of our head people will always be here for you to yell at, Mr. Client. And that worked very well. They looked at us, they listened to us, and they saw it worked. And we opened 4 weeks ago, and it was well received all around. We got good marks from our client.
I guess that's the big thing, right? They may not know you're working in a cloud. They may not know your levels of backup that you've got invested in this. The fact that it does work smoothly is that testimony within itself, right? That they were able to go ahead, do this efficiently, and to the customer, it should be transparent, right? And your client just sees a very smooth, efficiently rolled out, design and build.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Okay.
And to the first question there, at startup, one thing that we have done. Don't start the video again, man.
No, I'm not. Go ahead.
One thing that we have done, and that was actually that large project in Portland. We used that project as our initial project. We didn't jump in with 65 desktops. We jumped in with what was it, 10 or 12 for that particular project team. And then our leadership quickly saw, why are we doing 2 things here? Why are we having one virtual system and then the old school system? And they looked at it and said, what's the future? Cloud is the future. Let's go that direction. And within a relatively short while, that initial guinea pig project was rolled out over the entire company.
Okay. All right. We do have some more questions, and I'm going to answer these questions. We're going to get back to these people separately because we've actually exceeded our amount of time that Autodesk had here. I guess that's a good thing. But please come and check out Advance2000 at advance2000.com. If you like, you can go to /AEC. We've got a section in there dedicated to this. This video is going to be posted both on YouTube and our website. And my contact information is on the screen right now. That's both my cell phone and my email. And one thing I'd like to encourage for everybody, we do offer a free evaluation. So if you want to demonstrate any of these virtual desktops yourself, please contact me. I will make those arrangements to give you one of our virtual desktops or a couple of our virtual desktops and put them into a shared file like we displayed today and give it to you for a few days. Try it out. Put those models on there, put your projects on there, collaborate amongst your peers and see how it works for yourself. Don't just take this demo and this to do it. And we'd love to help you with that. With that, Andre and Snigdha, I really, really appreciate your time today. And that's it. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.